What a pleasure, Bibhu Mohapatra, to have you here in Canada and to have you here on my show. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You know, I have to say that when I saw your collection at Anokhi 13, I was completely wowed. Everything that people write about you, everything that famous people say about what it feels like to be in your clothes was obvious on the stage. I want you to know that I'm really, really appreciative, and I thank you for the honor of doing your first fashion show in Canada at Anokhi 13.
Thank you. It's a great honor to be here, and thank you for those kind words, and especially about my work. And I feel amazing amount of joy and pride to be here in my community here in Canada and to be showcasing my work.
Absolutely. And you know, how did it feel for you, Bibhu, that you're being honored by, I mean, you've been honored, like all over the place, right? But to be honored by your own community, I'm sure that has like a different feeling for you, right?
Absolutely. It's like almost coming full circle, and if it was not for my community, I wouldn't be doing what I do today, and wouldn't be where I am today. And so it sort of kind of sums it all up, and it's a special joy, really, to be honored and to be recognized for my work, and not only for me, but for all those people who have been along with me on this journey, including my family, my friends, and countless number of people who have been, who I have been blessed with as a passenger in this journey.
It's really interesting to hear you say that, Bibhu, because I've had the the blessing and the honor to speak to so many successful people over the course of my career, and all of you have this one common denominator statement, right? And that is that you attribute your success and your ability and the blessing to be able to do what you do because of the support system around you, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I would be a fool if I say that, okay, this is all because of me. I wouldn't exist. It starts with my parents, who gave me education, my value system, and supported me through thick and thin. And even when first time I ever mentioned that, okay, I want to do something in fashion, they didn't know what I was talking about. They didn't even know how can someone make a living by designing clothes, but they just blindly supported me. They just encouraged me that, okay, this kid has found something to believe in, and that's how it all started. And people that I have met, my friends back home, friends in the US and in Canada, yourself included, I don't take it for granted. All their support, and even one word of kindness and word of support magnifies into a mega scenario for me and mega support for me. So I will always be grateful to all those people.
Absolutely.
Including yourself.
Oh, you're so lovely. I have to say something to you. I think that, your appreciation and the energy that you create around you really, magnifies in just the creative process of what you create. Everybody that has ever written about you says there's one magic about you that nobody else has, and I want to, say something that you already know, but I feel it's necessary, and that is that you create the most glamorous clothes for day wear anywhere. So that's a great compliment, because to put glamour into day wear is a very difficult, proposition. You obviously, I mean, you've been to famed FIT, right? And you spent your time honing your skills at Halston. You spent time at J. Mandel. It's not like you just came out with your collection and, this is what I'm about. You really paid your dues, right?
Yes, that's important.
But then, when you're a creative artist and you've had the opportunity not only to learn the skill at school, but to work with some really reputable houses of fashion, I almost feel like, how do you find your place in the world, right? How do you figure out who it is that you need to be as a designer? because in 2009 you showcased your first, namesake collection.
Yes.
So how did that happen for you? Because it almost feels like you had a real specific mandate as to who you need to be as a designer. And you've carried that through over the years. You've been consistent in who you are as a brand. So tell me how you figured out who you need to be as a designer.
Thank you. This to have my own label was a big dream, but it was a dream that I could see that, okay, it's brewing somewhere far. I didn't know how to get there, and all I knew was sort of, okay, I finished my studies, but I have to pay my dues, as you said, and I had to really not only sort of polish my skills, but also develop my own set of skills and develop that vocabulary. What is luxury to me, and who am I looking at when I'm designing clothes? And I also knew that, okay, with internet and technological advance all around us, I knew that I'll be designing for a global audience. So what sort of information I need, and how will I know about not only the creative part of the business, but also the business part of the business. And,
absolutely.
And which was, and you can't just read a manual for that. You have to really put in the months and years of work. And I have been lucky that I spent some time at Halstead, but then when I finished school, I got hired at J. Mendel when they were when they were planning to start their ready-to-wear collection, and I started with a tiny team, and after almost 8.5 years, I resigned as the design director there. I had a team of about 22 people that I have sort of found and trained, and I realized that team is the most essential thing that you could have, and building team and keeping them inspired.
Yes.
And really learning from them and having that openness about bringing them on board, and then it becomes a very balanced dialogue with each one of them. That's when you really get a fine result of your collaboration. And that's something that I didn't learn in school, because they don't teach that there. Right. That's what you learn on field. So all those years of work, and I was kind of feeling that, okay, I'm getting closer to that dream that was brewing of having something of my own. And after J. Mendel, the first thing I had to do is sort of end that chapter and then sort of step away and clear my mind so that I can plan on what I want to do. Because I felt like, okay, I have paid my dues, I have learned about the craft, I have learned about the business as much as I can. I had a clearer idea who am I designing for, what what would be the DNA of my brand. So once I sort of had a clarity on it and decided to, I had rented a tiny little white room near my house on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, just paying rent. And it's a white box out, my thinking box. I would sit there and then just plan things out, and then it all started when a call came from Borgrove Goodman, asking about, okay, we know that you have left J. Mendel. What's happening? When can we see something? And so that sort of kind of got the ball rolling.
Absolutely. And you just spoke about the fact that you had to figure out what the DNA of, who you needed to be as a brand in fashion. Tell me what that DNA is. From your, everyone has their opinion of you. I want to know your opinion of you.
I think me as a person, I really put the value system first, and what, in essence, who we are, whether it's about myself or whether I'm talking about a coworker or talking about someone. And it's what they grew up with. It goes much deeper than the surface.
Yes.
And then once we get that out of the way, and it becomes about how we think and what's our specialty is, what is that inspires us. So I don't ever try to define myself through my work. I would like to be remembered as a good human being at the end of it all. However, the DNA of my brand is something, creating something timeless and something that people would be so curious to touch when they see it without knowing anything about me or my brand, that would force them to touch the piece of product and make it their own. But the result and the goal being that not to turn them into someone else.
Right.
It's sort of kind of enhance more of who they are, those core values that I'm talking about, who they are as a person. Those are the things needed to be highlighted. I make clothes that make more of someone than changing them into someone else.
Right.
And clothes that have a life beyond a season. I always say that. And my clothes have a lifetime for many seasons, and that finds a home in someone's closet and stays there. And I want to sort of, as I build on this luxury brand and in different parts of the lifestyle products that I'm going to be getting into, I want the same DNA going into each one of them. And it's not about a trend, it's not about just that moment, it's about having a longevity of these products. That's the relationship the product has with the client.
Absolutely. And you know, it's interesting, you have all these different types of clients, you know, First Lady Michelle Obama, all the way down to Jennifer Lopez, to Madhuri Dixit, you name it, right? It's interesting that you say that you design for, you know, the person that is your client. But when I look at these women, you know, and all of them dressed in your clothing, as much as their clothing really exemplifies who they are as a woman, there's that Bibhu-ness in them all, right? And it's very difficult to accomplish that, right? You know, some people design for a person and their brand isn't really recognized in it. Other people will have their brand and everyone just has to fit in it. Okay. You kind of marry the two, right?
No,
How do you do that? Like, what is it that, I mean, I know that as soon as you see a woman, that already you're thinking what she'd look good in. I can tell that about your personality. So how do you marry the two? Because your brand does stay consistent on every one of these different types of women, but somehow they make it their own, right? So tell me how you feel, you know, about that. How do you accomplish that? It's genius.
Well, it's you know, it's the first thing is always by staying true to the design philosophy of a brand. And you know, I design for people all over the world. I have the opportunity of doing that, and some are very recognized people. Some of them I don't even know, but they feel good in my clothes. They look good in my clothes. So my design always is, I always define my design sensibility as it's a study of opposites. It's always a balance of hard and soft, and tailoring and draping, and geometry with organic, and bright colors against neutrals. So those kind of chemistry is always there, whether it's a day outfit or an elaborate gown or a jacket.
Yeah.
So what it does is it's sort of kind of neutralizes a lot of things and makes each of these design details very modern, because modernity is the key. And with that element, I can offer products and designs to a broad range of clientele. Doesn't matter where they're from, what age group they belong to. It works because it's a very neutral. It's a very sort of a modern approach to thinking about clothing. And so, whether that outfit that Madhuri Dixit wore, the black and beige gown with this just 2 stripes on it, and it's also a scientific thing too. And I love to different bodies, human figure is all about geometry for me and the proportion. So if you figure it out, the proportion, it works on every body types. And so that's my little sort of little trick that I have in mind. So every time I do a fitting, I really squint my eyes and try to get a less perfect vision and try to study how it looks if I'm looking at it from a very, very far away or with the binoculars. So it's a study for me, and I try to stay true to my design philosophy, no matter who am I designing for. But at the same time, I like to be very well aware of the personality or the lifestyles or who this person is and what they stand for, if I have the opportunity of that.
Absolutely. You know what, I have to tell you my opinion of what I see in your designs. To me, you are the designer of juxtaposition, right? You put these opposites together, you know, whether it be, you know, in the kind of materials or the color palette or the way that you have your, you know, your drapings cut. I always feel like it's the opposites matching, and somehow they meet in the middle, and it just works.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I'm glad that you said that, and you see it, and it's more interesting that way. And it's, you know, it's like a little puzzle. Everyone has kind of figured, okay, it works, but why it works? And
right.
Yeah. So it's good. I mean, you know, that that's what excites me to create, and it's my little challenge of figuring new ideas and new proportions out and how to make them work.
Absolutely. Well, you've also, you know, you're very well known for your fur collections as well. Tell me about why you decided that fur was going to be kind of like your next thing after, you know, your staple standard clothing collections. Why fur?
For me, I was not trained in furs. So when I started at J. Mendel is a fourth generation French luxury fur house, and when the brand came to New York in the 80s, it flourished, and the fur techniques were very beautiful classic ideas that were sort of novel to Americas. And so they when I worked there, I learned a lot about that, but I started with breaking all these traditional rules of furs because it's a whole different material, and for me it was the whole practical approach to excuse me, furs and fur clothing was very interesting, and right. I was very curious about it, and I started doing experimentations with some discarded skins, and came up with some ideas, and it worked, and sort of gave a modern voice to fur as a material and and clothing. So when I started my own brand, people expected that, the buyers and clients and the critics and the everyone expected that, but I kept it sort of very minimal for first 5 years, and then when I was approached by one of the largest manufacturers in North America, they wanted to collaborate and work with me, and so I that gave me the platform of designing a collection of furs that is responsibly sourced, and also it's marketed well, and it has a commercial appeal to it, and it has those studies of opposites also in there, yes, in their techniques and design. So it has been going really well, and I'm happy how it looks.
Yeah, and how the reception that you've gotten as well, right?
No, it's been very, very blessed. I've been very blessed with that.
Absolutely, and we've been really blessed because we've gotten to enjoy the artistry that you are. My final question for you, Bibhu, is, you know, what in the future? You touched upon at the beginning of the interview that there's other products that you're kind of thinking about putting out there. Are you able to share what some of them might be? Perhaps where they could potentially be available, like in terms of countries, etc. Will Canada get to enjoy any of the fabulous, you know, products that you're looking to launch out there? I mean, talk to me a little bit about the future.
Of course, of course. You know, Canada, I would love to have my products available in Canada, because we have a lot of clients from Canada who travel to New York and or other parts of the world and purchase our clothing. See, as a plan of the brand and building of the brand, we have all these categories. So we have done the first. So we just earlier this year we launched a diamond jewelry collection, yes, with Forever Mark De Beers, and it's a full collection that is going to be that has been introduced in India first. Now the plans are to introduce them in UAE, China, and eventually in the Americas and in Europe. So that was a tick mark, and so the next things that are in the pipeline are a wedding collection and a diffusion line, which is going to be a more of an approachable price point with a bigger scale of distribution of clothing.
That's really smart.
Yes, that's where we want to go, because these days luxury, you know, those were the days, gone were those days when you define luxury by making it exclusive. But now I think there is luxury in including everyone, because the world is a very small place, and everyone has a specific taste and they can appreciate luxury. So it doesn't have to be tied to a high price point.
Right.
So if my challenge is if I can give the same DNA, same sensibility, but to a bigger audience, why not? So that's also in the pipelines. And then obviously shoes and accessories and those things come on. And I would love to do design space, you know, interiors. And so that's something that I always wanted to do. So maybe that will happen as well. And menswear, of course.
Of course. Of course. My gosh, we've got so much to look forward to. And from you, Bibhu, I feel like there needs to be a perfume called Bibhu.
Why not?
Right?
Why
like
not?
It's such a great name, you know. It's like when a person thinks, you know when your brand is kind of like, you know, Stanley or Kleenex, right? You know, your name is indicative to glamour, but to modern day pop cultural chic glamour, right? That's how I see it.
Thank you.
Right? It really is something that every type of woman can, you know, be a part of. You know, some designers are extremely one way. And there's only certain kinds of women that can wear it, but you really are made for the woman that wants to look and feel good.
That's exactly the point, and that's always what I wanted to do. Not just like a one particular type of group of people. That it's, you know, it's okay if some people do that. It's fine, but for me, more the merrier. You
Absolutely.
know, I would love to be surprised walking on the street. That gives the most pleasure if I'm walking on the street and I see someone I totally don't know who they are, but wearing my outfit and walking by. That gives me the most pleasure. And I think as I'm building this brand, I want to include as many people as I can. And you know, I'm just glad that I have support of yours and Anokhi to bring me here to talk about my dreams and my plans, and what an honor to be here. Really.
Thank you, my darling.
Thank you.
You know, it's such an honor to have you here. We at Anokhi love you. You know, and we're so excited about having you here. We actually wrote about your first collection back in 2009. I don't know if you know that.
Yes, I do.
We have followed your career, and I'm happy that, you know, the stars aligned. You're here in Canada, and I've had the opportunity to speak to you. You're an inspiring artist, and I thank you for your time. And I can't wait for all the magic. And I want a perfume, by the way, called Bibhu. Okay?
Done. It's my promise to you.
Oh, love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.